Hello and welcome to another edition of Beyond Sunday. I'm Brandon Walters. This is Reverend James King. And today, James, I'd like to talk about unhappiness.
Unhappiness.
Because right about now around this country, we have election day going on around the world. There's a lot of, let's call it angst going on with some people.
I would say.
And I want to just kind of talk about that in general, about, maybe where it's coming from and how we can move through it.
Okay, all right. Well, I really feel like that we're living in a time where life is pretty good. It really is a good life. There's so much to be thankful for that we have. But I think what has happened is that people are not really thinking about what they have, they're thinking about what they don't have. We don't have the right government, the right politician, the right president, the right, House, Congress, whatever. We don't have the right house. We don't have the right relationship. We don't have the right color, tennis shoes, whatever it is. There's a lot of things that people, and it's all externally based. And the problem is, to just jump right into the root of it, the root of all unhappiness has to do with projection to the outer world, expecting the outer world to make us happy. And that never works, because there's nothing outside myself that can cause me to be happy all the time. Now, I can do things, I can get on a roller coaster and woohoo, I have a good time going down, but then, a half an hour later, I start thinking about my problems again. I start thinking about my life. I start thinking about what I don't have, how things aren't working. And so folks are incorrectly using their minds or not in touch with the natural world, like we used to be in days gone by. And so the unhappiness is that people have a lot of time on their hands and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to fill that time. And then, of course, there are those people who are working, but they're working at a job they don't like, And then there are those who are the money chasers, they're just chasing the almighty dollar, over and over and over. And that's not, in and of itself, very fulfilling, There's nothing wrong with having money, there's nothing wrong with being rich. But the problem is that people feel like that is what's going to make them happy, and the truth of it is, when you were born into this world, you were born with everything you needed to be perfectly, completely, and totally happy. There's nothing that you can get from this outside world that's going to make you happy. Now, yes, having a nice house can add to your joy, add to, feelings of satisfaction, having a job that you like, all that's good, there's nothing wrong with those things. But what we have to do is we got to get back to the real root, which is we're not having a spiritual connection with a God who is, in reality, the source of all life, A lot of people have a concept or an idea about what they think God is, and most people it's pretty negative, God loves you, but if you don't repent, well, you're going to hell, And so there's that belief. And then there's some people who are agnostic. They believe, well, there's probably a God, but, he's like a landlord who he's never around, And that's, what some people think, that we have a God who's detached from us. And then there are those who have chosen to become an atheist, and say, well, there is no God at all, And so the key is to realize that God is not this external thing, but God is the internal spirit or presence that is in every cell of your body,
So it sounds like to me that the cause of a lot of people is that they're looking for a condition to make them happy.
Very good.
Versus, I guess, an unconditional happy.
Right.
So, so you're saying, what I'm hearing is that you're saying that there's an internal happiness
Right.
is in a spiritual connection.
Right.
Tell me more about that. Why does that make me happy?
Yeah.
Well, because you don't need happiness and joy and bliss is your natural state of being. Okay? It is the stuff that we're taught in our society that causes us not to feel or believe or think that we are happy. And so we think wrong, and we focus on negativity. We're going all out here where it's just your true state of being. If you just let go of your mind, take a deep breath, and relax, natural happiness will begin to come forth. There's a natural joy, there's a natural bliss that we all have. And you can feel it and see it when you're in nature. You know, it's why people like to take a vacation and go to the beach, you know, because of the ocean and the waves and the sand and the sun and all of that. They're connecting with a physical manifestation of divinity. And in that, they're making a connection with the divinity that's within themselves.
There's still, I'm playing devil's advocate here,
Okay.
there's still this part of me that goes, yeah, I get all that, but I still got all this stuff I gotta do. I got this stuff
Right.
that I have to do to live
Right.
and to exist
Right.
in society.
Right.
And it's still there. Just because
Yes.
I got all happy inside, I went to the beach and forgot about it for a while, it's still there. So when I come back,
Yeah.
I still gotta deal with it.
Right.
And that is so true. But it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. In other words, it's not the job that you do, it's your perspective about the job. It's your belief about it. And that's the problem, is we have this belief that, you know, work is hard. You know, work, and especially people, they're under a lot of stress. And it's because they're burned out. You know, and really, the basics you've got to have every day is you've got to sleep at night for 7 to 8 hours.
you know, from 4 to 6, or nap times.
Or get your nap in, but you gotta have plenty of sleep, you gotta be drinking plenty of water. A lot of people don't drink enough water and they're depressed and they don't know why. It's because you're not getting enough water, you're not getting enough sleep. And then you need to be putting food into your body that is feeding your body and causing your body to feel healthy, because if you don't feel healthy, you're gonna be down, you're gonna be moody, you're gonna be depressed, you know? And so a lot of times it starts there. But see, even that is a spiritual thing. Because if you don't feel good about yourself, if you don't feel that you know, you deserve to be able to sleep, you know, that you deserve to have clean, fresh, pure water, that you deserve to have good, wholesome, organic food. And if you don't believe that you're worth the time that it takes to get those things, you know, then you're going to end up hurting yourself, you know. And so even that is a spiritual practice, because you've got to love yourself enough to want the best, right?
Yes, and because to me, the unconditional happy has got to come from, I mean, because I think we've got it backwards. If I get this, I get happy.
Right. Right.
When in essence, if I get happy, this can come.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But this the whole getting
Cart before
happy.
the horse.
Yes, but if you're getting happy while this is staring in your face, it's easy to say,
Right.
a little harder to do.
Right.
So is that just focus?
Absolutely. And a lot of times, I know myself, I can, you know, there have been times in my life where I was a little depressed or a little moody or whatever. And I go to bed and say, well, I'll just work on this tomorrow. And I wake up in the morning and I feel so refreshed and so much better. I get a new, clear perspective on things. Reset,
Yeah.
you know, and then I can approach it. And then I make sure I'm drinking plenty of good, you know, water and eating some good food, and, you know, just making sure my body has all the vitamins and the minerals that I need. And, you know, it's amazing. There are certain minerals that your body needs, that if you don't have those minerals, you will get depressed. You know?
Yeah.
You need more minerals than you do vitamins.
Oh yeah.
You know?
And that's kind of the problem with the food supply. It
Absolutely.
doesn't exist necessarily in the soil.
Absolutely.
And a lot of places have been kind of overworked. But
You have to go out of your way a little
yes.
bit to take care of yourself.
I wonder, just the effort of going out of the way, and I just wonder if that can give you a sense, like, yourself, it's a self-love or a
Yes.
self, like, man, I really care about myself enough to do
Absolutely.
that. Maybe there's a little building up of self-esteem there,
Yes.
just from doing that.
Absolutely. And I think that's the whole thing, is self-esteem. Because you don't feel good about yourself, and so you don't take the time to do the things you need. And what happens is people don't feel good about themselves, and so there's a subconscious disconnect, a self-sabotage that takes place. And you will put off doing the sleeping, because, well, you got to work. You put off getting what you need to eat. Well, I'll just eat this hamburger and this milkshake and this French fry and this apple pie. And of course, an hour later you crash, it's going to kill you.
Well, there is that whole idea of what are you making more important?
Right.
And I guess if you decide and start doing things that signify to you, I'm making me more important than everything else,
Right.
or I'm making my spiritual connection more important than everything else.
Right.
I think there's a lift inside you there.
Absolutely.
Certainly a confidence builder or
Absolutely.
that's showing you that
Yes.
you have some self-love, I guess.
If you look at many of the enlightened people, the gurus, if you listen to them talk, they talk very slow. And they talk very precise. And then you watch them move, and they move slowly. They're not in a hurry. They can move quickly, but they're not in a hurry. And so that's a key, for us, because we see that by slowing down, that's part of being enlightened.
One way to me to get happy,
Mm-hmm.
you tell me this is it. For me, it's like this, just a trust in that it's always working out for me. Like there's a faith there,
Yeah.
and that allows a lot of things to kind of fade away.
Right.
To not the worry, the angst is gone. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. It's a 6-letter word. Trust.
Trust. That's how we say it in the South.
Yes, exactly.
Trust.
Trust. And, you got to trust that there is a divine plan for your life. And there is a divine plan for everyone, for everything. There's a divine order to everything. There's a positive synchronicity that will lead you and guide you to exactly where you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to be, and what you're supposed to be doing. If you will trust in that universal flow of life, just like the birds intuitively know where to go to find the water, where to go to eat, and all animals have this. We have it too. And we have it in spades, but we have been taught not to believe in it, not to trust it. We already have this self-governing, self-enlivening spirit that is within us, that we call God. And there is a plan if we surrender to the flow of life and allow ourselves to go with the flow, or if we don't like that, then flow with the go. You know what I mean? But get in it and go with it. You got to ride the horse in the direction that it is going. A lot of people are trying to swim upstream.
Yeah.
They're working against themselves.
Yeah.
And so you got to slow it down, and you've got to figure out, how can I stop the mind, and how can I relax, and how can I move my habit patterns in a different direction, in a more positive direction.
Stop trying to control everything.
There you go.
I think that's the thing, because what we may think is bad,
Right.
we can always look. You can never. Steve Jobs said it. You can never really connect the dots until you're looking back at it. So,
Yes.
but what we think is bad, we're going to look back on in a short
Right.
time and go, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm so glad that happened. I know exactly why that happened."
Right.
And it seems to happen every time. Like if you'll look back on that stuff, you'll be thankful for it, even though maybe it was painful at the time.
Right.
So I think if you can get that in your head, that allows you to kind of let go a little bit,
Absolutely.
and just if you can trust, and maybe that eases some of the unhappiness, and maybe
Yes.
allows you to get to that happy place.
Yes.
How else? I mean, we got to get to the happy place. So just releasing something isn't necessarily going to make you happy. Is it just a matter of finding something else to focus on?
Well, Krishnamurti was a spiritual teacher for many years, and he had these people that followed him, that listened to every word he said. And they kept asking him, well, what's the secret? What's the secret? And so after 30 years,
Well, he couldn't tell them they wouldn't follow him anymore. They'd have it, they'd leave.
well, there you go.
So he's a smart guy.
But after 30 years, finally he said, tonight I'm going to tell you the secret. And they were like, ooh, they couldn't wait to hear what he was going to say, you know. And so he said, okay, this is what it is. He said, I don't mind whatever happens. Okay? Whatever happens, I let it be okay. You see the wisdom in that? It's a very deep thing. In other words,
Neutrality.
whatever, yes, it's whatever happens to me, it's okay. You know, we are the ones that make it not okay. If we're behind somebody who's cutting us off in traffic, it's not because they're cutting us off in traffic that we're unhappy about the situation. It's about my belief that he should not be cutting me off in traffic.
Yeah.
You know, that is my problem. Has nothing to do with him. And so the key is to realize that things happen in life. You know, you're going to spill the milk. You're going to spill the coffee. You're going to fall down sometimes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have to replace the brakes on your car. You're going to have to replace the tires.
The batteries.
The batteries. You go out, you get in the car, you're in a hurry, you need to go somewhere, and the battery dies on you. All right, it was time for it to die. You just go get another one. And so that's the key. You know, that's the key, is you just do what you need to do in the moment to take care of whatever is happening, and then you go to the next moment, and then to the next moment. And that's the key to life.
And don't mind.
And you don't mind, you don't care what happened. Okay, so what? Somebody gets mad at you. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Now, in the beginning, you know, you might, oh, I can't do that. If they get mad at me, I'm going to get mad. I'm going to, you know, well, then you're creating a scene. You're creating drama. You're creating more problems for yourself. You know, okay, you're mad at me. Okay, I understand. Then I'm going to let you be for a while.
Yes, you could win the argument, but is it worth it? Is it worth
Right.
the stress and the
heart attack.
adrenaline and all that stuff? It's not worth
Yeah.
it. Or the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, at the time.
Exactly.
So, okay, that makes sense. Well, so the teaching today, don't mind. Don't tell this to your kids, because they'll listen to that. But don't mind. All right, so, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right,
James.
man.
I think it's good
Good to talk
stuff.
to you.
Hope you got something out of it. I know I did. And we'll see you next time. I'll be on Sunday.